I should forget you. I should forget you. But everything reminds me of one thing today. The Leningrad blockade.
The Leningrad blockade and the Leningrad metronome constantly knocking. Our institute has existed for more than a century. There were happy and sad pages in its history.
Today we want to tell you about the hardest exam, about the blockade exam that took place in 1942 at the end of January. The war started during the summer session. More than 500 students and professors went to the front in the first days of the war. 420 of them were volunteers, and only fourth-year students who had to pass the last state exam on the 26th of June received a deferment.
The remaining employees didn't have time to leave. The evacuation was scheduled for the 18th of August. However, on the same day the railways were cut and the evacuation on them stopped. The institute continued its work, one of the few. In September 1941, 45 people were enrolled in the first course. However, in the same month, by order of the government, the 924th hospital was located in the building of the institute. Students and professors actively helped with its organization. They brought boards to the upper floors, took out excess furniture, washed the floors. The institute moved to Malaya Posadzka Street 26, where the Pokrovsky Pedagogical Institute was located.
The students recall, "We wanted to prove to the invaders that despite all the efforts of the enemy, we still studied and graduated from the institute. And how could it be otherwise when our comrades were dying at the front, defending their homeland, and when the country sacrificed funds for our studies? We had to study for ourselves and for them."
According to the memories of Viktorova, an employee of the institute, over time hunger and cold made them felt more acutely. Their faces turned grey-brown, their eyes dimmed, and their skin turned goose. Their faces and legs started swelling. It was getting harder to walk. Death took away our comrades every day, both in the institute and also in the dormitory, at home. However, all this didn't prevent the conscientious students from studying hard for exams. They often came to the institute, leaving their folks dead at home.
The state exams were scheduled for the end of January 1942, for the hardest days of the blockade. It was an accelerated graduation, as it was often practiced during the war.
It was difficult to reach the institute on the Petrogradska side. They decided to arrange one of the exams at the flat of the professor who lived on Belinsky Street. However, a shell hit her flat the night before. People found out about it only in the morning when they arrived at the place. Then students and professors decided to conduct the exam right in the street, on the go. In order not to freeze, they didn't stand. They walked from the corner of Litany Avenue to the Fontanka River. The students answered the questions on the examination ticket. All got good and excellent marks.
Despite the situation, professors and students felt the solemnity and importance of the occasion. They felt so because passing this exam, they finished their studies at the institute. And because in such unprecedented severe conditions, they all stood another important, decisive test. From the memories of a graduate and an employee of the institute, Lyubov Vladimirovna Kazantseva, we will remember our fellow students who died in the besieged city or at the front. And you, current students, remember them. Remember that they were as young as you are now. They also loved life, but they didn't hesitate to give it for the motherland, for the future, for you. Why should we reopen old wounds and recall what we have long passed through? Yes, there was a war and a terrible blockade, but we are destined to remember that they stayed.
And to live peacefully in the world, we must remember the lessons of the past, so that we could answer for what dwelled and stand up for the test of the war.